Welcome back to another episode of a very basic space program. We are continuing our one episode a week. I hope you're coping with it. I hope you're checking out the alternatives that are on the channel. This week we're going to be trying to do, and you might find this a little boring. I don't know. It could be an interesting flight actually. Looking at it, we're going to start off with this commercial communication satellite early contract. We haven't actually done one of these. I thought we'd actually done one already. We haven't done one. We need to do two, and doing two will open up the geostationary communications network, which we really need to get. We really need to get the contract for, because we're going to need a geostationary communication system, and just to fix all the communications issues and things like that. And I'd like that to be available for us quite quickly. Obviously, we're in 1970. We're not going fast on this, but getting some of these contracts out there would be really good. And I think this one is quite interesting because it requires that you have a high apoapsis, and the periapsis isn't low either, so it would be interesting to see how we do with this. So we're going to be launching it. It's ready to go. I will see you on the pad. Keep watching. Welcome to the launch pad. This is the Javelin 3N with our payload on the top, and I think this is the first flight of the 3N actually. So this is pretty much just the old 3M, which we were using for some of our launches, uprated, just to basically give it a bit more capacity. I'm hoping it gives it a bit more capacity. That's the aim anyway. You can see it does have reasonable thrust off the pad. All of these solids will actually light at the bottom there to get it going, instead of having a staggered sort of Delta 2, I think it was, Delta 2 approach with sort of 4 going and then 2 going, or 6 going and then 2 going, or whatever it was. Two reasons. These casters are not that efficient because we've not operated them. They're the basic caster 1, I believe. So carrying them up is extra weight, and they weigh quite a lot. So it seemed less efficient. And also, we want to get bursting through the atmosphere. They only burn for 23 seconds. So actually, the thrust, although it's high for that 23 seconds, it gets us moving and gets us out of the thick stuff as quickly as possible. So let's have a look at the contract again. So we have apoapsis between 5 million and 10 million meters, so 5,000 kilometers, 10 million kilometers. Inclination above 31 degrees. Great, we can do that. We'll just go at like a 45-degree angle or something like that. And we've got these units on here. I don't know if we actually give the vessel over when it's completed. We may do that. I haven't assumed that we're not going to do that. So let's have a look what we're going to set it as. We're going to go for surface. We're going to put our angle to 45 just to make sure that we get everything. Of course, we can see already we've got an inclination of 28 degrees. So we're definitely going to get above that. I don't think that's to worry. You can also see, yeah, we've got the payload ready on this craft, so we don't need to worry about that. So we're just aiming for high, and then we can use our satellite bus there just to take it up to the required altitude. So we're gonna punch it basically. Right, let's go. Let's launch this thing. I may shorten this. I may not. Let's see how the flight should go reasonably quickly. Let's get the engines going. There we are, and we're launching. You see, we're launching from the old milk stool approach that we've done before. And what I might actually do is we might just speed it up a bit. There we go. Make it more interesting. There we are. Get this going. You can see already the inclination is going up. We like that. Get this craft over as quickly as possible, because those solids do punch quite strong, don't they? So get that out there. And I think our solids are gone. Let's get rid of them. And oh, I think one of them hit the side of the craft. That's I wonder if that's physical time warp or whether it would actually have done it normally. I believe they should have little decoupling solids on the top of them to push them away, but I'll have to check. If they do not have that, that is something I need to think about if we use this craft again. I think I've got it labelled up for use again, but potentially we could have the craft that cause itself all manner of problems with that. So we're going to do a standard sort of launch profile with this, and this first stage I always think is a bit of a beast. It's sort of it's a fast burning, high thrust, well, not high thrust, but towards the end it is high power. It gives a lot towards our actual orbital path there. You can see, you know, we're still churning through its Delta V, and it's actually a really nice one. It's an LR79 engine still. We haven't upgraded it. We could, you know, debating this, what the future of this craft actually is. We could upgrade it to like an N1. We could do that, or we could just basically leave it as is. I am not sure what I want to do with it. We've actually gone really high on this launch. By the next stage, there we go. I don't mind actually how high we're going to go, because of the fact that we've got that apoapsis going to be high as well. We've got 4 minutes to burn this stage, so I'm not too worried. This is actually a terrible launch profile, but You know, that's the way it is. And so we can see the satellite in there. There we go. We've got our little tank at the bottom with MMH and MON 10, which is, I believe it's mixed oxides of nitrogen 10. It's just one of the concoctions. Interestingly, if you watch my British series, the British did a lot of work on like nitric acids and mixed oxides of nitrogen and stuff like that in the same time they were working on peroxides. And it was something the British did a lot of and continue to do to this day. I think they do quite a lot of work with the mixed oxides of nitrogen. So yeah, maybe it's a little hark back to that series there. But yeah, we just I can actually put this down a bit. We've actually gone really high. We may actually end up getting, but we're going to be so close to actually getting the correct orbit potentially. If this thing gets into orbit, we're going to be so close to getting it potentially into orbit, into the correct orbit, even though it's 750. Potentially you could do that, but burning, the higher up you go, the less efficient the burn is, shall we say, for circularization. You want to circularize as low as possible and then just boost yourself up. Of course, you've got to balance that with having relightable engines. So, of course, this is a one light engine that we've got on here. And, yeah, that could be a problem for you sometimes. So this is going to be a quick launch, I hope. After this, we'll have a little look at the upcoming missions and what I've trying to do, because we've got some outer planet missions that we need to send off. We've got our space station that we've got to send off. We've also got the Pathfinder missions to Venus and to Mars. The Mars one is the easy one. The Mars one's the really simple one, actually, for Pathfinder, because it is pretty much just a case of fire it there and it should have enough delta V to do pretty much whatever it wants because of the way it's designed. It's basically a cut down version of the Venus one, which means it's got a lot of extra delta V. The Venus one has a little something extra, but we'll talk about that when Pathfinder happens. I will actually show you the construction of the craft and how I did what I did and why I did what I did. Again, coming back to that, wanting to just have one or two versions of craft. So we're going to wait until this gets to about 5,000, is it? Yeah, it's about 5,000, then we'll cut the engine on it. So it's quite a long burn time on it. I think we should get there. We should have more than enough delta V to get there. It's not a big issue, I think. Oh, now that's interesting. We have an early cutoff. Yeah, we did not do as well as I thought. So we're going to decouple and we'll fire that engine. There we go. Get that going. That did not go as well as I thought it was going to go. That's interesting. And again, that may be because we were in such a high orbit to start with, like a high apoapsis or periapsis it's now become to start with. Maybe that is actually the problem. That's interesting. The good thing is this craft has oodles and oodles of delta V because, of course, we've now got bipropellants in here, and it's it just makes everything so much easier having bipropellants. I will have to slowly sort of transition over the whole. Oh, hold on a second. Do I have? Hello. Oh, I've got RCS on. Don't have gimbal control. That's why we're shifting all over the place, isn't it? That's where we go. Right. Turn that off. There we go. So note to self, put the RCS on when you're doing stuff. As I was saying, the upper stage of that craft there, that thing that's in orbit, that still uses HTP, I believe. So that would, of course, need uprated to use bipropellants. And we obviously use the same bipropellants that we're using on our probes, just to make it easier for tankage at the launch site. At the moment, we've got two fuels, and we actually only need one, or technically three substances, when we only need two, because we've got the two components of the bipropellant and the HTP. And they've also got the catalysts and stuff you have to carry around for that. So yeah, interesting. Right. So now what we're going to do is the only thing we need to do is sort out this periaps. So we're going to rattle along to the apoaps, and I don't need to be very specific with this. It's quite interesting, actually. Go orbital, prograde, we'll do that. We'll let it orientate itself around when it gets there, get the Earth in view. That's a lovely little view there, isn't it? Oh, isn't that nice? Do that, do a bit of that. Do a bit of that. Isn't that lovely? Ooh. There we go. Orientated beautifully. And set the engine off. And that gives us that. And then that will probably do it quite quickly. Can we speed you up that? We've been running at 2 times physical time warp for the entire thing until this point here when we actually do need it. And I think we just need to go over 780. That's going to be easy enough. So probably do it almost instantaneously. There we go. Done and done. Cut that. Hold it stable. We'll do a bit of a timey-wimey warp. So it's supposed to stay there for 2 minutes. And then I think we're done. There we go. It's going to the customer. Okay. So we go back to normal and then we jump back to the Space Center. So it's gone to the customer. But the good thing about that one was We got a big chunk of money for it. I think it was like 190,000 in total, because it had been sat there for sort of 5 years waiting to be completed. Sometimes if you need a bit of money, some of these contracts, I wouldn't say leave it for 5 years, but you can easily leave them for a couple of years, and they will build up to over the sort of 200% marker. Is a big bonus for you. You can see how long it takes for my screens to transition now in between scenes. Isn't that wonderful? Right, there we go. So what have we got going on? Let's have a look. We've got vessels being built. So currently we have Discovery 13, which is going to Saturn, and Discovery 14 going to Neptune. Those are the next two up. Saturn is 160 days. That's going to be ready in time. Neptune is 351 days. That's going to be ready about 100 days early, which is good. We've then got Pathfinder for Mars. That's going to be 260 days, but of course that's going to be after Saturn is done. So we're going to have to add about 70 on this. So it's 340 days, I would say. So you're going to have about a 40-day leeway on that. Then we've got our Jupiter encounter, which is lovely. Then we've got another potentially Mars encounter. That would be 471 days. Now, if you look, Neptune and Mars 2, if you combine those times, they're going to be over that. So Mars Pathfinder 2 is probably going to be delayed. I'm keeping that window marked there because if we have a delay on Pathfinder 1, we will jump to that window. It's a longer window. I think it's a slower transfer, but we could use it if we needed to. And then what else have we got? Well, we've got Dawn. We've got Dawn and Janus coming up. They're going to both basically be building. So once Pathfinder is on the queue, in about 200 days, these will start building. And the next window after that is the Venus one, which is 780 days. Now, Pathfinder to Venus is 280. So we need 500 days. 500 days before that launch, we need Venus 1 Pathfinder to be building. So 500 days. What are we actually looking at? We've got Saturn's going to build. It's going to be followed by Pathfinder 1. That's going to be a total of, let's have a look, 350. Then we've got Dawn and Janus. We could slide Janus in first. That's going to get finished quickly, and then we can just push Venus in if we need to. I think we're going to move you up, actually, yeah. So that's going to slide in quickly. Now, I am going to put some funds into upgrade points, so we can do that now, and it'll change everything that I've just said. But you can see our R&D is actually not as great as I would like. I'd normally like it 2 to 1, but we don't actually have much science at the moment because we're waiting for all these things. So I'm actually going to put stuff into the VAB, which is not what I would normally do. So I'm going to rattle that up, and I'm going to take it to about 1.5 million, and then we'll just start pumping that in. And some people will pump up their main line as much as possible and then catch up with it afterwards. Cost effectively, because this second rate takes half as much to bump it. If you see that, just takes that. It's worth keeping it balanced, unless you are going to be only flying like core missions. I think, and that's balanced out lovely. So if we go back to there, we can see the times have dropped significantly now. You can see there's been a significant drop. Our dawns and stuff have really dropped down. So we may actually, we'll have to play it by ear. We may be able to get some stuff in a little quicker. Have we got any other missions that we want to look at? We've got this record crew count of 3. We've got first station. That we've got to keep an eye on. That's what the Dawn and things are for. Mars orbit and Venus orbit we're going to get with the Pathfinders. Potentially we're going to get the Venus atmospheric probe with a Pathfinder. We'll talk about that later. We don't have a Mars atmospheric probe, primarily because I could send one in to go under 50 and potentially scoop it out the other side or parachute it. But I don't know if I parachute it if it will actually land successfully. We could put some little bags on the bottom of it. That's an option. It's an option that I would actually quite like the idea of, and maybe we'll do that for if Pathfinder 1 works. Pathfinder 2 will maybe modify to turn it into more of a Venus Pathfinder and do something like that. Mercury landing we're not going to be going for. Rovers for Mars and Venus. Venus, again, a rover should be pretty easy. I do need to check whether we have got there is a mod that lets you actually set them and then they can drive themselves. Otherwise, driving rovers can be horrendous, but we could automate that potentially. We have this again. Oh look, 1 of 2. So we need to do this once more. and it's asking for not much at all, actually, is it? That is tempting. That's quite high, though. We could just rattle that off. It's going to give us 100%, which is not brilliant, but for one of those craft, we could sneak that craft in quite quickly, and then that would open up some more options for funding. And then we've got flybys. We've got Jupiter coming up. We've got Saturn, all these things, all these ones coming in. Vesta and Ceres, I think we need to have a good long look at, but they're not a priority at the moment. So what do we want to do? Do we want to wait for that Saturn window? How much time is it going to cost to build one of these? 52 days. Can we slide it in is the question. Can we slide it in now? And this is the balance that we're trying to fight off. If I slide it in, Pathfinder for Mars is 380. I don't think we can fit it in there, but could we get it in after the Mars Pathfinder? I'm not too excited about that. I think no at the moment. So it looks like we're going to be going for this Saturn launch. So what I will do is I will fast forward to that point. I'm going to put the Saturn craft up into orbit, and we can do the transfer there, and we can actually prepare that. We do have our Discovery 9 on the way to Uranus. We have the Discovery 10 on 11. Discovery 10 on the way to Jupiter. So this is, where's 12? Oh, Discovery 12 is on its way to Jupiter as well. It gets there early. That gets there in just over a year and a half. That's actually stunning, isn't it? So it would be good if we set our Saturn off now, because yeah, as soon as possible, really. So let's get this craft done. I'll get it on the pad. We'll set it up and we'll get ready to go, I think. So I will see you in about 160 days. Right, I have come back early because we have an interesting situation. You'll see we've got 52 science. There's a couple of techs that we could research with 52. One of them being small reactors, I think, which don't actually have any parts in it. So I'm not in a hurry to research it. But you'll notice that our final piece of research we've got stacked up will finish in 53 days. It means it's going to finish before our next launch. We're not getting much in the way of science. So potentially, we're actually going to have a research lab that's not doing anything. We don't have anything orbiting other planets gathering science. We've basically gathered as much science we can from the sphere of influence of Earth currently. So we need to start thinking about that. If we're going to progress the program, at the moment we're just going to be stalled. Our tech is going to be stalled, so it's about time. And sometimes you get to this in RP-1. And not usually, I'll be honest with you, normally I have a long line of research, and this is the first time I've ever had, in around 1970, no research left. So I think the situation here is our build time is slow, and our rockets are big, and our research is actually quite fast. So we need to really think about increasing our build time. I think we've maybe gone too far on the upgrade points for research, which is odd because normally I would have my research points higher. We may even want to look at, getting enough funding to get that third queue up in the VAB, because that would actually help us massively at the moment. So that's a lot of funding, but that's a big investment. As you can see, we've got these things to go to, but that does mean that our research is basically going to stall until probably the Jupiter mission comes in, which is in about a year's time. So we're going to have about 300 days without research. 300, actually, I can tell you exactly how long we're going to have. We're going to have 317 days without any research, because as soon as that gets into the sphere of influence, we're going to get data back from it, and it's going to start ramping up. We might not get much science straight away, but we should get some. So we should be getting some science straight away. All right, I'm going to go forward again, get this Saturn craft onto the launch pad, and we'll get ready for launching it. Right, you find me in the research facility. I was going to jump straight to stuff, but you'll notice that we've now unlocked our final tech that we're researching, which is advanced communications, which means we've got that tracking station upgrade, and we've got comms tech level 5, and we've got this bigger dish that I can now put on stuff. So I'm going to go and we'll have a look at that. I think we're going to spend money. Can we get our tracking station done up? Because that will increase not only... Yeah, we can. That'll increase, you see that, look at the power go up there from 13 to 40. We'll have that, thank you very much. That will take a bit of time to build. What's it going to take? 25 days. That's how good our build time is at the moment on the VAB. Okay, so that's 25 days. I need to check actually whether we've missed one, because we may have missed one, and so there might be another one after that. Is that actually set as level 5? Yeah, so it's going to be level 6. Okay. We also have, we could have technically upgraded Pathfinder, we could have upgraded the Discovery, so I may go back and upgrade them. It may change their mass and things like that, so I tend to do that and keep an eye on mass and Delta V changes. Be wary, upgrading things like communication, you can get better bandwidth, but it can mean that you're actually using more electricity. Sometimes it means less. You can be using more electricity, and it can change the mass as well. So be aware of that while you're doing it. So I'm going to get forward to our time for Saturn launch. I'll launch that, and then you can see me in orbit while we're probably doing that departure for Saturn. Welcome back, and you find us in orbit with our RCS firing like crazy because we had a slight decoupling issue with the upper stage. I wish I could have actually brought you back as it happened, but yeah, we instead of shutting down the engines, we had a decoupling incident. I hit the spacebar instead of the X button, and as such, the upper stage kept thrusting and put our upper stage, our third stage, kept thrusting and pushed our upper stage into an interesting little spin. So we're actually using RCS that's being pulled out now. The fuel has actually been pulled out of our probe at the top there, because obviously we actually had the decoupler said to allow it to feed. So these tanks at the bottom are empty, so we need to remember that. So yeah, this thing is slowly coming down, but we've used maybe I don't know. And the problem is I think we should be okay for capture at Saturn with this, as long as we don't have to do too big a heavy maneuvers. I'm glad that we actually designed this upper probe with a little bit more give in it, shall we say. But while we're doing this, let's actually set up our maneuver. So we've got maneuver planner. Let's go and have a look at Saturn while we're still fixing ourselves a little bit there. And we better put it on orbit and actually turn that off and just put that on. There we go. Just stop it. I want to point it prograde ideally. All right, let's have a look. We want to go to Saturn. That is Jupiter. So we're going to set Saturn as target, and then we're going to jump back here, and this is going to hopefully orientate itself all the way around. Wonderful, brilliant. And we're going to go for this one here, I think. Yeah, we'll go for the so could we do? Oh, now we do potentially have Delta V to spare on this, so we could go a little faster. We could go sort of here. So let's just draw out and have a look. Is there something I can do? Oh, is it stabilized now? Are you done? We're just going to shut you down because you are just making a lot of noise now. You're reasonably under control. All right. So we've got about 9,000 meters per second because we've got rid of all that Delta V. I'm going to be sensible and say, let's go. So you see here, departure in 1 day, it's 2 years. But if we go up here, it's 4 years. So we're actually potentially saving years. So let's try and see what the Delta V is going to be like if we put it in, say, there. What about there? Not 1 day. I don't want to go 1 day. Let me go closer. There. Get me right in here. 3 days? I don't want to go 3 days. I want to go... Right. Reset this. I want to look at around here. So let's go from down here downwards. And go ASAP anytime. And it's going to take 4 years. Okay, I don't want to do any time. I want to do this window here. Can I do this now? ASAP. Does it 3 years? And it's going to cost us 3.8. I want to go down here to ASAP. Anytime 8.2. Okay, 8.3. Okay. So let's create the node. Create node. Right. So that's going to be created. That's going to happen in 31 minutes. We're going to start burning. Right. So let's now go and have a look at Saturn, because we're trying to do that quick approach again. We're trying to get there as quickly as possible. So hello. We're going to have a slight inclination. That's not a problem. In fact, that potentially puts us on a plane with... That's very close to being on a plane with Iapetus. That's interesting. Right. Now, let's see. How much is it to capture? Let's have a look at that. Let's do the old cheaty pulley back on here. And we're just trying to get a rough idea of how much Delta V it's going to cost us to capture, because it's all well and good putting more Delta V in. Ooh. Now. No, because that's not going to be a good capture. but that does tell us that this route is going to potentially lead to an interesting interaction. Right, that's as loose as we can get it. So let's go maneuver 2, 1006. We do not have that, so that is not a goer. So we're gonna reset that. We're gonna remove all nodes. We're gonna look up here. We're gonna go for what's it, ASAP there? 8. No, that's not. So we need to reset this. Go back out. Let's zoom in to about there. Right, now ASAP. That's going to be 4 years. Create node. Right, now what's this one going to do? So this is 4 years, 10. Now we know that anything less than 4 years is going to take more delta V. Oh, we're coming on the other side. We're coming on the other side now. How interesting. So this is the wrong side, first of all, but that was a lot less delta V, wasn't it? And I think that's a big one, isn't it? So they're all going this way. We're going to come around the opposite direction. We could do flybys of them still. I mean, we're doing flybys. We're not going to be trying to capture into orbit. This might actually make capture easier. Yeah, look, because we're coming on this side, capture is easier because we're basically, yeah, it's a negative gravity assist, shall we say. 700. What's the inclination like? The inclination's horrible, though. So that was 4 years, 128. Let's reset it. Let's remove all those nodes again. You can keep playing with this. So we're looking at probably around about, we want to be about, let's have a look. 3 years is quite nice, isn't it? So about there. So let's take it from here and let's go ASAP. That's 3 years, 50. 7,000. Okay, then we create that node. Where's that going to go? Okay, that's going to go, which way is that coming? We exit that way again. So we're going in across the retrograde. Okay, add maneuver, pull me in like so. There we go. That one is 900. That's more manageable. That's a better one. What's its inclination like? It's horrible. Yeah, we're not going to get an interesting interaction there. So the choice we've got is all of these moons are going this way. We're potentially coming in at a completely different inclination, and we're actually going to be crossing. Oh, that's really the annoying thing is the inclination change is going to be around here somewhere, which is not far away at all. I wonder whether we could do a little maneuver mid course to try and fix that a little bit. That is a possibility. Just change our inclination coming in. Where's the actual? Where is our ascending and descending nodes for this? It's not showing up, is it? We could have a look at our ascending and descending nodes, which are not going to show up until we're doing the things, and possibly do that. But I think this is the goer, isn't it? It gives us just enough sort of delta V required left to do a little bit of something on the way there. It does give us quite a high angle. I think we may have to go for 4 years. Yeah, I think it's going to be 75 before we get there. Let's reset it. Let's just go properly for. Ooh, hello. Close these. Get rid of all these. Right. That's my. I want to focus. I want to target you. It says we've got no target right now. No, not little Peters. Right. Go back. Do that. This is annoying when it does this. Right. Set as target. Right. ASAP gives us 5 years is too long. It is too long. Let's do about here. What's this? This is 4 years. So let's take it to the brink of 4 years. There we go. And then we do ASAP. And I'm gonna focus view on you right now. Create my node. Hello. Well done. Right. Oh, now what was that I saw back there? What have we got going on here? Oh, that is a really, wow, that is a long way out after this interaction. That is a bit of an interesting one. Right, so where are we coming in? We're coming in a retrograde orbit again, I'm guessing. Is that right? Yeah, we're in retrograde orbit again. Okay, we're just going to get into orbit is what I'm aiming to do. So get into orbit. That's going to cost us 7,600. So this should be an easier capture. What's that going to capture cost us? What's it going to, there we go. We've captured for 9. That's the same as the last one. And I don't feel as though we've saved anything with it. In fact, we're at a worse angle. Am I pushing it? That's the question. Am I pushing it that I don't need to? Let's reset the whole thing. Oh, done that again. Oh. Right. I want to target. I would really like to just target something, please. Thank you. Right. Let's do this again. Set that. Set as target. You're getting bored by this, aren't you? We're going to focus view again. And I think I want to go up to about, yeah, 4.5 is good. ASAP, that's 410. Create node. We're still coming in retrograde. I'd really prefer it if we didn't. We could potentially change it a little bit. But let's see. We may have the delta V just to push it and see what happens. There we go. So that's going to be, that's actually more. How is that delta V more? Is that because we've pulled it in tighter? Maybe. Okay. Right. I'm going to go and fiddle with this a bit more. I'm going to get it set up and then I'm going to jump back to you because you don't need to see me doing 25 million of these. But what I can say is sometimes you end up with a situation there where we're going to be burning less fuel to do this rendezvous. And it's actually going to give us worse arrangements. So I'm going to sort this out and I'll be back in a moment. Well, after all of that, I have settled upon one of the ones we've already looked at. I'm settled upon 4 years for transit time. It's going to cost us 7.7 kilometers per second of delta V. And we should be able to circularize for about, well, not circularize, but capture for about 800 to 900 meters per second, which gives us a little bit more to play with. The actual angle that we're going to approach Saturn is not perfect for any interactions with the satellites around it, any of the moons, but we can, once we've captured, we can start thinking about that and see if we've got anything interesting in the future. So we have got 21 minutes to the point of which we need to actually start our burn. We're going to do a manual time warp on this one because I've been jumping past it by using the sort of auto time warp. Oh, there we go. We have the probe is run out of battery. That's the bit that's orbiting, that's debris rubbish. We'll get that there. Interesting. This, whenever we time warp, this goes up to maximum. That's interesting. Does it drop down when we finish? No, it does not. Let's do that. Right. So we're going to just. That was very interesting. I wonder why that did that. Was it? It wasn't on thrust when I was doing anything, was it? Very interesting. Right. Yes, the probe is running out of battery. I get that. Yes, we don't really care about it. We can actually get rid of it if we really want to. Right. So we've got 2 minutes until we're actually ready. So let's have a look. We've got battery, haven't we? We've got plenty of battery. Let's have a look. Yeah, we've got plenty of electric charge for this. Right. So we're gonna put ourselves on the node. We're going to activate our RCS. It's going to be draining yet more fuel from our upper stage because it does not have any of its own anymore. It's used it. We just need to check actually. These are empty and I've just not yet. They are actually set up. They're Aerosine, are they? I thought this was. Oh, this is an Aerosine one. We're still using the Aerosine stages. Oh, that's interesting because it's yes. So this was of course designed using Aerosine, and I've now switched to using MMH for a lot of our probes. I need to keep that in mind actually, that this stage is like that. Oh, actually think about that for the Venus craft. I think the Venus craft is MMH, so I'd have to, this could be problematic thinking about it. We may end up having all sorts of interesting RCS related issues with that, but I'll come to that in the future, I suppose. Right, we're ready to go. Everything looks good. I think we're okay. We're in a reasonably high orbit. The apoapsis is not perfect, partly because of that decoupling incident has actually caused that slight problem. We do need to do some forward thrusting on that when time comes. So we're going to let this just time warp forward a bit to about 20 seconds to go. There we go. I'm going to set the engine running. That will give us the thrust, and then we're going to fire those engines. There we are. Right, there we are. We are ignited. We're going to be burning for a grand total of like 6 minutes. That's a long burn, actually. So I'm gonna physical time warp this thing a little bit just at the start, get it going. And we're going to keep an eye on our delta V here. Now, if we remember right, the last time I did this, what we did was we upped the usage of that and we popped that a little bit so that should get used primarily. So this is going to go. That's all gone. Good. Then this will go. And then this one at the bottom will be the last that goes. Okay. It might be better to have this as the last one to go, but we'll see. You know. Oh, we've lost an engine. Oh, dear. Well, I guess this is going to be a failed mission. Yeah, I think we have a failed mission. Oh, dear. All right, so we ain't going to Saturn. After all of that, we are struck with yet another engine problem. Right, so there we go. The RL-10 has gone. It went, what, after... we can actually shut the RSS down. Let's have a look and see what has happened. So you just seen me waste a load of time doing a prep piece of work, and the engine shut down after 1 minute 27 seconds. We shut down the second engine after 4 seconds because of stuff and things. Yeah, that's us done. That is that craft gone. It will forever basically float around. I think we could. I mean, we could fire the engine up, and you know what? Let's stabilize it. We could fire one of the engines up and just, you know, do what we can. But this thing is not going anywhere. It's burned its load of fuel up and things like that. I don't think it's going to be sorting itself. So there you go. We had one successful satellite mission. Our mission to Saturn has gone in the toilet. So now it's going to be Neptune. There we go. It's time for us to send our maneuver and get our maneuver done. Well, I think it's a bit late now. We'll kill that. We're going to put this in retrograde. I think we'll put it in retrograde. We'll have to decide what to do with this craft. It's going to be floating around there. It's not had... I wish I could have shown you the decoupling incident. That's probably what's damaged the RL-10, in fact. So we've had to put up with that. So what you got to see was us planning for this mission and then it going horribly wrong. So this Saturn window is gone. We'll have to... In fact, while this is stabilizing, let's see. Can we bring up... When's our next Saturn window? Let's have a look. We're going to go to Saturn. I don't care about the insertion. The final orbit, I don't want that. Initial orbit, we're going to go from 200. Let's plot it. What have we got? I don't want that one. Let's add a year on and plot it. In fact, oh, that's an interesting one. Let's put a couple of years on. Let's make it 3 years. Right, that's the one. Right, so if we add that to the thing, let's have a look on the old alarm clock. That puts us as a Saturn departure. Oh, you're kidding me. This is what I was worried about. So what we've actually got now is we now have a Saturn departure window, and that's a good one. That's a quick departure. Actually, we're looking at, what is that for days? Travel time. It is 4 years. It's a 4-year travel time at a low departure delta V. Oh, that would be nice. That would be really nice. I mean, we've missed the best one. The best one was this window. This window gave us a huge range of options. This is pretty much what we were going for this time. So it would take the tank. It would take everything. The capture burn, not sure what it would be like, but yeah. So. Okay, I think that's going to be it. We're going to have to figure out how to deal with with Saturn. Neptune is our next departure. Obviously, we do have uprated craft for these now, I think. I need to go and check. I thought these were the uprated engines, actually. We'll go and check. I know the uprated engines are on, definitely on the Pathfinders. They, I believe, have uprated engines. We will check the Saturn craft for this. And again, the Neptune I think is uprated, but I'd have to have a look. So actually, I can tell. I can actually tell because we can look at the namings. So this is let's have a look. We have, that's a B version for Neptune. So that is a B version. So it's the uprated engines, the better thing. Now, the question we have is, what is this one? Give me my thing. Let's see if we can rename this craft. It was a B variant. Wow, so this was actually the B variant. This was the better craft. That's a little concerning, actually. So we've had an engine go. What's the data like on those engines? The engine data is not great, to be fair. In reality, what I'd really like to do is run those engines a bit longer and get some data out of it. So we may do that, actually. That's an idea. Let's actually do that before the end of this. And this is a little cheeky. This craft is not going anywhere. It's going to spin itself to oblivion. But we can get some data out of it, I suppose. So let's do that. Let's close that down. We'll try and have it pointing retrograde. What's its current electric charge like? It's okay. Right. We're going to try and get it to stabilize an engine. Those look okay? And then we're going to fire the engines up. There we go. Now this craft is going to spin. You can see there, we can actually put it on here. It's going to spin. It is going to spin. The RCS will try and counter it. But that's okay. That's not a problem for us. This spin would probably be better or less so if we actually had all the fuel at the top. But we don't. The fuel's being pushed to the bottom and outwards. Let's have a look. Where is our thing? Can we see our data coming in? This is something you can do, by the way, if you've got engine blowout. So there you go. We can see we've got a big chunk of data for that engine. That's interesting. Is that because it failed and shut down? Anyway, let's speedy this up a bit. This engine will no doubt go as well. So there we go. We're getting more and more data units for it. Did I operate both engines, or is there some? No, it's an RL10A31. Okay, that's a lot of data units on that. It's interesting. Mean time between failures is actually 172 minutes. So, you know, we probably the problem you have when you run two engines is you always have that likelihood if one goes, you're basically doubling the chance. So yeah, that's something we've taken into account with this craft, but I was hoping we could get away with it, and we haven't. We have failed dramatically. If I was in the mood to redo this, I could probably cancel the flight and go back. I'm not doing that in this series because I think it's not fair for you to see me not fail, really. So while I run this engine off and we spin round, next time we've got Neptune, we've potentially got Mars. We may sneak in another launcher there or not, I don't know. From me, until next week, please check out the March to Orbit series, check out the other series on the channel, and have a great one.